I'm here with Heath Shuler, Democratic candidate for Congress for 2006, running against Charles Taylor in North Carolina's 11th District. Thanks for being here, Heath.
Thanks, Gordon.
How familiar are you with the whole Netroots community?
Wow, it's been incredible, especially in different aspects of my career and things I've gone through. Nothing more positive I've seen in the way that people get out the grassroots than through the internet and the politics of how in politics it's been incredible. We've gained so much support. A lot of our information that we've been able to gather has come from the internet, and we can pick up online as quickly as we possibly can on almost everything. And we obviously having a blog site on our website has really helped. Been very excited about it.
All right, well, you're familiar with net neutrality, and I'm wondering where you stand, if you're in support of net neutrality or if you have some other idea.
Well, obviously, it has to be equal to everyone, and obviously the big corporations can't do what they've always been doing, is putting the little guy out of work. And so we must make it equal to the person or the man or woman who's working at home to be able to purchase access equally as a big corporation would.
Thanks. I'm going to kind of turn to the bigger non-internet geek issues now. Immigration is a huge issue in this election, and I was able to attend the immigration town hall meeting with Congressman Taylor and Tom Tancredo last week, and saw the folks coming out for that. And what I was curious is, I was wondering if you could contrast your position on immigration with Charles Taylor's position.
Well, it's very hard to distinguish exactly what is his stance on immigration. It seems to kind of flip-flop back and forth, but our path, and we've stayed very steadfast on protecting our borders and our ports. It's important that we protect and we give the necessary funding to be able to do that. It seems like it just gets caught up in the bureaucracy as opposed to actually getting something accomplished. And I think that's been the problem with this administration and this Congress, is they can't get anything accomplished, can't get it done. When it comes to serving the people. Now, when it comes to the big corporations, they get it done very quickly, subsidies and those kind of things. But protecting our borders, it is a national security issue. We must be able to protect our borders. I agree strong with that. Not giving amnesty. And the reason I say that is because it does not set a good example for our children. That if someone who has done something illegally, they are rewarded for that. And that's just not the right impression that we should be giving our children.
So it sounds like essentially what you're talking about is Charles Taylor's been in Congress a long time, and he's talked about immigration reform for a long time.
16 years they've had an opportunity to fix it. The Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. They've had an opportunity to fix it, and they have done nothing about it.
All right, thanks. I saw you at the Blue Ridge Motion Pictures studio event, and there was one part of your speech where you just really lit up, and it was shortly after you'd seen Inconvenient Truth. You'd attended with Brownie Newman downtown. And what I was wondering, in your opinion, what can government do in the face of this accelerated climate change that we're seeing?
Well, certainly what we can do is make it a priority. We've seen other countries, Brazil being an example, of lessen their dependence from the Middle East, or lessen their dependence on petroleum. And coal burning, is another example of being able to pollute our air. Mm-hmm. The things that we must do is certainly make it a priority, make it a part of our everyday living. Actually, just recently I bought an electric car. That was a way for me to say, look, if I'm going to talk about it, I must do something about it as well. And everything that we possibly can do to protect our environment. We've been given such a beautiful place here in the mountains to live. We must protect it. It's only on loan from our children and grandchildren. So what we have to do is to be good stewards of our lands. And certainly what we must do is protect it. It's hard to put a lot of things that we do in reverse, and this is one of them that it's going to be very difficult for us to reverse. We must make a priority. And in Congress, what we have to do is, instead of subsidizing the big oil companies, let's put those subsidies towards alternative fuels and renewable energy. That's what we should do. We should put the subsidy there, not to the big corporations that's making billions and billions every quarter.
I also heard you talk about creating a research triangle for Western North Carolina for alternative energies, and I was wondering if you could say more about that.
Now let's talk about our jobs. You know, if we can bring jobs back, and we have to work with our universities and community colleges here, and to have the workforce that's available to do the research in alternative energies. That West North Carolina can be the research triangle or the Silicon Valley. It could be that type of environment here. Promoting it, emphasizing it, making it a priority that we can bring back jobs, and it was something that will not only impact our district when it comes to jobs, but it'll impact it when it comes to protecting our environment, and not only here, but possibly all over the world. The things that we could do right here in Western North Carolina could make an impact throughout the world, and we can do that.
All right. I know that we don't have a lot of time, and I definitely wanted to ask you this question. We know that when folks go to Washington, there's suddenly all of these pressures around them. You're walking into this culture, this power culture that is so rife with corporate influence, with old power influences, and when people get to Congress, it can be very difficult to kind of hold on to yourself. I mean, just hold on to your hat. Here we go. We're on this big Congress merry-go-round. And so this is kind of a two-part. I wanted to ask you how you feel like you're going to be able to hold on to your hat and maintain once you get to Washington, and how you think Charles Taylor did.
Well, obviously how we're going to maintain our values. These mountain values that's been given to us from generation to generation. Growing up here in the mountains, you're given a lot, but one of those things is talking about your character and integrity and maintaining those. You know, I've been in the world of the NFL, and you could certainly stray if you wanted to, but maintaining that dignity in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that you know, I always make the comment that you know, the decisions that I make in my life, you know, it's going to reflect. My children are going to be able to see those decisions that I make. You know, I've had my 15 minutes of fame, so what I want to do is I want to go to Washington. I want to know that I'm there. You know, we're going to speak loudly. We're going to fight hard, because somebody needs to fight for the working people of this country. It's been lost.
What do you feel like would be among the first things you'd want to do when you got there?
Well, you know, there's such a long list of things that we need to do. You know, first and foremost is we have to start working for the people in our country, and start realizing that, you know, the working class has been the backbone behind our country for so many decades. You know, it's been the backbone behind our country since the birth. So protecting our jobs, not sending more jobs overseas. You know, we see what happens to a member of Congress. On your other question, what happens to them? You know, they get their arm twisted. You know, they want to walk away from the very important vote. The CAFTA vote was a very important vote right here in Western North Carolina. And it's going to impact, and it will continue to impact, the jobs here. And the representative did not, my opponent did not elect to place a vote that was so important to so many families. And I just cannot imagine what he's I don't want to ever imagine what he's going through, of knowing when a family loses their job, the impact not only is he having on that family, but the impact he's having on his children as well.
So you're talking about the priority then being jobs, economy, raising a standard of living. This is what we're talking about.
Protecting our environment.
Would that include a minimum wage increase?
Absolutely. We got to increase our minimum wage. You know, my opponent has increased his wages almost $30,000 since he's been in office. You know, a personal minimum wage would have to work 3 years to just get his increase in wages. Mm-hmm. You know, would have to work a lifetime, you know, to be able to get to any quality standard of living. You know, it's $10,400 or $10,600 a year for personal minimum wage. Our families can't survive today.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Gordon.
I really appreciate you doing this.
Thank you.